You can just have a little quickie. I mean, just a dance.
Rude.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Truth and jest is
I was just thinking we should just play some cards.
Okay.
I mean, they're your cards. What's your game?
I'm not really that good at cards.
These cards are in your house.
I know. Well, it's more of a training exercise.
Stop.
You should see what I did with
All
Gabe.
right,
I taught Gabe a 52 card pickup.
That's the stupidest game ever.
That's,
I'm going to teach you a real game.
Is that glass, those shot glasses clean?
They're filthy.
All right.
I mean, you can clean them.
No. I got more left.
That's the smell of drink. Hi, baby. Hi.
I've got a very cleanish glass.
That's completely unsanitary, man. I can see you. I'm right here.
No, look how clean it is. One.
I'm gonna roll it on this lady's face. Look at this. What is this? This is your reading material?
Yeah. Yeah, I already read it though.
Swept.
You can borrow that if you want to.
Lives and loves of three brothers on the windswept shores of Chesapeake Bay. Jax. Fuck Jax. What?
It's just this whole. I'm all right.
Is that your heart?
No,
What's happening?
It's nothing like that. It's just. I can't feel that side of the body.
Jesus Christ, man. Here, let me help you. You want me to help you move?
Help me sit up.
Okay.
All right, we're good. It's just, hold on. It's just this thing that happened. It's, it might be a little worse shape than what I thought.
Jeez, you think so?
I do. Yeah,
Jackson. It's like pins and needles. It's numb.
I don't even feel that right now, but it'll come back. Let me just.
Hey.
Yeah,
Stay with me here.
You know, it's just like Billy Parham when he got thrown in Pompano. It's you remember how he was like the birds that they're singing in the jocks room, and he just kept thinking, he kept hearing these songs. And it was, he heard the singing, he just didn't make it. You remember that? I never,
Hey.
I've never been scared before, Ruth. There it is.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. You're okay. Hey. What's she like out there?
What's she like out there?
Dido, what's she like?
Dido's like a horse I never thought I'd ever get to ride. You know, I never felt worthy of riding a horse like Dido.
You know, she's the first horse I've ever had that made me wish I was a jockey.
Well, hey, there's still time for you.
Oh yeah. I don't think so.
You know, you get older, you start to realize that, you and your body, they just ain't the same. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think this might be my last season, Ruth.
shit, Jackson.
All right, it's coming back.
Let me help you get up on the couch.
No. Let's just sit here for a while longer. Can we?
Sure, buddy.
Yeah.
Sure we can.
Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Carlos Aguilar. I'm a film critic here in Los Angeles, and it's my pleasure to be here today to talk about Jock in this particular scene with the director of the film, Clint Bentley, producer Greg Kwedar, and the stars Clifton Collins Jr. and Molly Parker. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we'll, in terms of the specific scene, which is sort of like a pivotal moment for Jackson and Ruth's relationship, and sort of looking at, what his body is sort of like doing to him, and where things are at for him. Why don't we start with you, Clint and Greg, in terms of the writing of this scene and what you wanted to express about this character with this moment?
It really, it's a wonderful scene because it's got both the promise of everything that's really coming together about their relationship, and after all of this time and all of their hopes and dreams, and also the possibilities of what they can achieve with this horse, and then the reality of where Clifton's body or Jackson's body is actually at through this moment, and just seeing those juxtaposed, that was a big thing we wanted to play with.
And for me, I think it's just what's so profound about this scene, and it got so elevated through working with Clifton and Molly and our team. But at its core, it's Jackson finally having to reveal his pain to someone else and his fear, and that being the thing that when a jockey knows their time is done is when they finally have to embrace that they have fear. That's a thing that a jockey can't have, and it's all the emotions of the movie wrapped into this little trailer with these two people, where we feel their history of what was, the reality of what is, and the tragedy of what could have been.
Clifton, you spend so much time with real jockeys in this track and sort of learning about their lives, and I wonder if you were channeling some of the things that they share with you, and sort of the pain, both emotional and physical, that they undergo in this profession.
There's a lot of hanging out with the jockeys and just sharing war stories. I've got my war stories and they've got their war stories, and obviously I'm more interested in their stories, but also this is something that I had to be very conscious of through the course of this character's arc in the film, as the disease in his body breaks down over time. So at this particular point, it's a painful moment because it's something you don't want to let go of. It's your sole purpose for many of these jockeys. I mean, the rush, a lot of these guys come from a lineage of people. So for me, it was the research of injuries, rehabilitation, things of that nature, just a lot of YouTube videos and stuff like that, and just kind of hearing of everybody else's journeys and just taking little pieces of that and kind of carving that into the pain that grows and escalates to this final moment that you see.
And it is also a moment in which he has to be vulnerable in front of another person. So I wonder, having Molly there playing Ruth change, or so the dynamic, or helped you express those emotions?
Having Molly Parker opposite you in any scene is going to help you with any emotions. Truth told. And yes, it was super helpful. We spent a lot of time together every night going over the scenes and exploring the emotions of the characters and what they're going through. So, this is also a moment that comes on the tail end of a celebration, because we did win, because we are on top, because we have overcome so many odds. So there's a a lot of emotions that happen that kind of get away from you, because at this age in the game, I don't think one hopes for, but you don't know when that win's going to happen, albeit it felt good in the moment. And it's easy to suspect, it's easy to be extra hopeful with this kind of horse and in this particular moment. So working opposite Molly in this scene is, I mean, it's just a magical moment. I felt very safe, being vulnerable with her, which kind of bites me a little bit, I guess one could say. I don't know, maybe it doesn't, but yeah, it did feel very safe. It was the kind of scene that you just didn't want to end. It was the scene that you just could have just kept going and going and going.
Right. Molly, what do you think this scene says about the relationship between Jackson and Ruth?
Yeah, I love the scene. And we actually shot it right at the end. I think it was one of the last things we shot. So in a way, for me, it contains kind of all of those aspects of, yeah, I think what Clifton and I were kind of hoping to create and show, which is this long friendship that has complications because they are employer-employee, they have maybe a past romantic relationship or a future, or, we don't really know, but it has all of those layers. And I think that, the horse, this like incredible horse has reignited something, certainly in Ruth, that was asleep, or maybe she thought was just over, at this point in her life and her career. And so we've come out of this celebration of like, oh God, there's this possibility that maybe we could win. And there's this high that they're on that I think Clifton and I were just really consciously and unconsciously trying to create a lot of joy at the beginning of the scene. And then so then when he has this attack of whatever's going on with him, it's that much more heartbreaking, because he has to be vulnerable with her, and she's the one person he really doesn't want to tell the truth to, because if he says it out loud to her, he knows it's over, and to say, I was never scared before, I'm scared, is to admit you can't do it anymore, and so, yeah, I love this scene. It was fun, so fun. And there's, somehow we had this weird little cat in there too. It just showed up. So there was a lot of magic going on. It was pretty cool.
I mean, there's also some wonderful dialogue in this scene, and I wonder if, first Greg and Clint can talk about the writing of that, and then, we could hear from Clifton about how much that changed, or if it changed at all from what was on the page.
It was something that the scene really breaking it into two halves. The first part where they're just having fun and dancing around, and Jackson's looking for clean glasses, and Molly's just pulling cards out and things like that. Really, they created that part of the scene. The scene as it was written in that section was just, they have a good time and dance in the trailer. And then it really led into the second section after Jackson Falls, where it's really heavily scripted. And then at that point, we had all worked together quite a bit, Greg and me and Molly and Clifton, for days up to that scene of really getting it right and cutting out the things that we had written that were bad. And there's one in particular that, where he says, Ruth asked Jackson how it felt riding on Dido's Lament. And he says, I never felt worthy of a horse like that. And that was something that was a different line for that moment. His answer was a different line as written, but it just didn't feel right. And then we all talked about it in the moment. And that line of, I didn't feel worthy, I've never felt worthy before of a horse like that, really kind of brought out a theme of the movie that I don't know that any of us really thought was there, of hoping to be worthy of something better than what you have now.
Clifton, what is your process to sort of make these words your own and deliver them in such a beautiful way?
So it was a buildup of those emotions and talking them out every night as well. So slowly allowing myself just to kind of walk in and let the moment happen, and let those emotions ring out, because there's some moments that happen in that scene that don't really traditionally happen that way in the realm of like how emotions and humans express themselves. And in order to do that, you kind of have to go a little deep, and it hurts. So
Molly, what is your take on dialogue and sort of like making it seem so effortless and natural between the two characters?
You know, I don't typically really enjoy doing improv on camera, and I don't, mostly because it just makes me feel self-conscious and takes me out of the moment, because I'm thinking when I don't want to be thinking. You know, this movie was shot with a crew of 10, and we were all sort of staying at this little hotel near the track. So we had this opportunity to get together every night and look at the stuff we were going to do the next day and really go through it. And so in that way, things would get, choices would be made, but there was still room. And then because we were working on a live track and we were around, it was really, we came to it. We weren't bringing it to us. And so I think, yeah, I don't know. And in some ways I remember the scene. I don't remember how we did it. I remember being in it, and that's maybe just a good sign.
Yeah, I can't overstate just like how we didn't want that euphoria to end of that first half of the scene. It was Molly's last night, and she brought that energy to every day of the set that we kept writing more for her to do, and the character kept growing with a life of its own. And literally we're in this trailer, this Airstream, and Clint and I are cramped into a little bathtub in the back while they're doing this thing in the first half scene, and we just kept going and kept rolling. And really, and once we came to edit this, this was the first scene that we really had. It cut so effortlessly, and then once we had it, we knew that the whole movie was encapsulated within what was happening in the scene, and it became the standard bearer for the rest of the cut. I was like, okay, if the rest of the movie can live up to what's happening here, we'll really have a movie.
Clifton, when you're in a scene like this, how do you come into a scene so emotionally intense like this?
We were pretty much on the same page. And I think that helps a lot when you have everybody thinking and feeling more or less where you're going. It adds to the element of just the cinematic magic that you hope for.
That single tear. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Clint.
I was going to say the same thing.
You do it.
I'll brag on Clifton because he won't do it himself with these emotional scenes, this one in particular. But throughout the movie, he would be there by take 1 or take 2, that as a director you've got it, and you don't really have to worry about it from that point on. And then, yes, as Greg was pointing out, somehow he's also able to be as conscious of the light and the camera as anybody else is, and just drop a single tear at just the right moment to the camera. That's very impressive.
It is what I'm going to pile on, just because what makes him great is it's not just his ability to inhabit it fully and be in it and shut off from the rest. And it's also that he's a storyteller, so that he is aware of all the other aspects of the things that are going on around him. And so each scene, it's not just about what he feels, it's about the story that's being told on the whole. And that just makes him one of the great actors of my generation, I think.
That's incredible. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Clifton. Thank you, Clint, Molly, Greg, and hope that you guys enjoyed the film. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
you, Carlos.